In TV's News at 10, the convoy of former President Goodluck Jonathan has been involved in an accident. A reliable source confirmed to TV's News that the former president came out unhurt, as only the pilot car was affected, with yet to be a certain level of injuries on the occupants. The accident occurred along Airport Road as the former president was heading to his residence after an official trip. Former President Jonathan is the ECOWAS Special Envoy to Mali and has been engaged in a series of diplomatic assignments for the entrenchment of peace and stability in the region. Meanwhile, the former president has expressed deep sadness over the unfortunate tragic death of two police officers attached to him in a road crash. He noted with sadness that the deceased inspectors Ibrahim Abazi and Yakubu Toma were fine officers who were dedicated to their duties and service to the nation. The former president sends his condolences to the families of the bereaved and the police high command and prayed God to grant the soul of the departed eternal rest. Now, Nigerians can go out freely at any time of the day without fear of being arrested for breaching the COVID-19 safety protocols. This new development is coming at a time the federal government lifted the ban on midnight curfew, crowd restriction at weddings, concerts, and others. The directive is from the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19. The committee says it arrived at the decision after a careful review of the country's response to the pandemic in view of the declining number of cases. Other reasons put forward by the committee include reduced risk of importation of new variants, the availability of vaccines, and the increasing number of people vaccinated in Nigeria and globally. The government says the social restriction recommendations were revised in line with the three established thematic areas, which are movement, industry, and labor, as well as community activities. Let's turn now to the Federal High Court in Abuja, where the court has ordered the government to comply with the 35% affirmative action for women. Delivering judgment earlier today, Justice Donato Okorowo said the federal government had the obligation to implement the 35% affirmative action, accusing past governments of acting in breach of international treaties on women participation in government. Justice Okorowo added that the national gender policy is not merely a policy statement, but one that must be backed with requisite action on the part of government. He said the 35% affirmative action, which entails appointing positions for women to ensure inclusivity, must not be merely on paper, as Nigeria is signatory to international treaties, particularly of those entrenching the rights of women. And Justice Taiwo of the Federal High Court Abuja has shifted judgment on a suit by the People's Democratic Party against Governor Ben Ayadi of Cross River State and his deputy to the 7th of April. By the suit, the plaintiff wants the court to order Governor Ayadi and his deputy to vacate their seats for having defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. Judiciary correspondent Celestina Area reports.
The People's Democratic Party predicated this suit on the fact that Senator Ayade and his deputy, presently members of the APC, did not win the 9th March 2019 governorship election in Cross River State, having defected to the APC. At the resumed proceedings, which was judgment, the trial judge announced that the lead counsel in the matter should address the court on the implication of the recent judgment of the Court of Appeal Enugu Division in respect to the defection of Governor David Umahi and his deputy from the PDP to the APC. Counsel to the PDP said the prayers of Governor Umahi at the Abakaliki High Court were different from what the PDP are seeking at the Federal High Court Abuja. On his part, counsel to Governor Ayade told the court that the case decided at the Court of Appeal Enugu Division is same with the instant case at the Federal High Court Abuja. The entire case boils down to defection, and the issue is whether a governor and his deputy, after being sworn in, can be removed from office. The court fixed tomorrow, April 7th, for judgment.
Defection is not one of the reasons stipulated in the Constitution for removing a governor. A governor defecting is exercising his constitutional right under Section 40 of the Constitution, freedom of association, freedom of assembly.
The All Progressives Congress is of a firm view that a governor or his deputy who defected from one political party to another cannot be removed from office by the court except by the State House of Assembly. Celestina area, TVC News, Abuja.
Still in Abuja but outside, the court President Muhammadu Buhari has signed an executive order that will ensure the implementation of the National Public Building Maintenance Policy. The signing of the document preceded the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting held at the council chambers at the State House. Femi Akode was there.
President Muhammadu Buhari signs Executive Order 11. This is the first time any government in Nigeria will make maintenance a national policy. The president says this critical policy will create jobs for small businesses, skilled laborers and artisans in the country. He also urged states and local governments to adopt this policy and begin to see maintenance as not just a culture, but a conscious driver of economic growth.
While it is true that our economy has been diversified and the non-oil sector is leading in terms of contribution to the gross domestic product, the maintenance and facility management component of the services sector is an opportunity that is waiting to be maximized. It is my hope that this order will open the door to this treasure of opportunities for young technicians, for artisans, for vendors and suppliers, and for small businesses and cottage industries.
Already the impact of this maintenance policy will be felt at the new international terminals in Abuja and Port Harcourt, as the Federal Executive Council approved a contract to maintain the terminal buildings for 3 years.
The government has put up a program in place to ensure that all infrastructure is being maintained, and so that they will remain as they are, perhaps even more improved with regular maintenance. So in this case, it's for 2 terminal buildings, and for the total sum of 5,653,341,729.07 naira.
The Federal Executive Council approved the establishment of 12 private universities. Also, the Ministry of Works and Housing got approval for the award of contract of the Kefi Nasarawa Total Road for the sum of 36.1 billion naira. Femi Akode, TVC News, Abuja.
On 23rd February, TVC News brought you the story of 3 stolen children in Ajuwon area of Ogun State. More than 1 month after the unfortunate abduction, the parents of the missing children are begging Nigerians and concerned authorities to intensify efforts to rescue them. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano visited the area again and reports.
This is Ishekiri Street in Ajuwon area of Ogun State. A first-time visitor will think all is well in the area, but pain lurks here. These 3 mothers are united by fate. Their children were stolen by a neighbor in February. During our last visit, we did not meet Miracle's family, but here they are still optimistic that their daughter will be found.
Because what I have that day, I have soup. So she said that she don't want to eat soup. Her favorite food is rice. I said, you should hold on, let me sell market. I'm looking for her up till now. I didn't see, but I know my God that I'm serving will not put me into shame. She will come back.
Kafiyat Oseni and Oluchi Okeke are worried that no headway has been made in tracking down the abductors of their children.
Anywhere that we go, they'll tell us that he's alive, he's alive. Though that is not what we want to get. We want to see them.
Landlord sent address of Alpha to my husband, and my husband took it to Elewe, and my husband still asked them again that why did they release those 2 people? And they told my husband that they have Oga, say it's their Oga that released them.
Peter's father is accusing the Ogun State Police Command of giving up on the case.
I have told them that I want to transfer the case to another police station, but they have refused.
So call help me.
We'll also make effort to reach the Police Public Relations of Ogun State Command and see how far they've gone with the case, and probably also ask him why those people were released.
We are still on it. We are doing everything possible to ensure that those 3 kids were rescued on hot. The investigation is still ongoing, and we are not going to leave any stone unturned until those children were found.
And using the name of God as a...
It was an emotional sight when the mothers went on their knees to plead with Nigerians to look for the whereabouts of their children. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
To the war against drug trafficking, a notorious queen of a drug cartel supplying psychoactive substances to traffickers in Taraba has been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency months after being on their wanted list. The 40-year-old Lamimai Rajima came under the Anti-Narcotic Agency searchlight when a number of traffickers arrested in the state in 2021 and earlier this year pointed to her as their supplier. The manhunt for her paid off on Monday, 4th April, when operatives tracked her to a hideout in a Wari village in Adokola local government area. In Adamawa, operatives arrested a cross-border drug trafficker, Emeka Okiru, with 32,700 tablets of tramadol. He was arrested in Mobi North local government area on Tuesday while preparing a supply to his customers who came from Republic of Cameroon. The drugs were found concealed in cartons of paintbrush. In Oyo, different quantities of cocaine, amphetamine and cannabis were recovered from 4 suspects in Ibadan when operatives raided parts of the state on Tuesday, 5th April. The devastating effects of oil spillage in 2 Delta State communities led legislative business at Wednesday sitting. This is as the House of Representatives called for the protection of telephone subscribers from breach of privacy, fraud and loss of money. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
In February, residents of 2 local governments of Delta State woke up to see their land contaminated by oil spillage. As farmers and fishermen, their economic activities have since been hampered, creating economic hardship for the people. Lawmaker representing the affected communities calls on the NNPC and Corn Oil to clean up the spill and also compensate the indigents.
Corn Oil has displayed highest level of negligence, reckless abandonment to the plight of this host community who are currently experiencing both infrastructural, environmental and socio-economic damage.
In a related field, the House wants relief materials given to some Edo communities affected by a recent rainstorm that blew off roofs, electricity poles and rendered many homeless.
Apart from blowing off the rooftops and demolishing houses in the affected communities, also swept away farmlands, resulting in loss of crops.
A motion by Ekiti member Fatoba Olushola on the need to protect telephone subscribers from breach of privacy, fraud and loss of money was unanimously supported.
It is the responsibility of bank account owners to ensure that their link phone numbers are changed with the financial institution whenever their phone gets lost.
If you put in a committee today or ask Central Bank to give you the statistic of those money generated as a result of unused data or other subscription, you will see that we may not even need money to borrow and fund the budget for the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
There is serious breach of privacy in the operation of telecommunications companies.
When they need to investigate
the House has now moved closer to repealing the Nigeria Customs and Excise Act for a new law.
The House do receive the reports of the Committee on Customs and Excise on a bill for an act to repeal the Customs and Excise Management Act Cap C45.
Motion urges the intervention of the House in the alleged invasion of the Federal High Court in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State by the police from Edo member Sergius Ogun was rejected after a near confrontation between him and the presiding officer. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
The Nigeria Bar Association is working with security agencies in the country to either eradicate or minimize conflict on human dignity and bickering in the discharge of their respective functions. As part of measures to achieve this, the NBA has set up an NBA Security Agencies Relations Committee headed by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Joe Gadzama. Correspondent Celestina Area has more.
The committee set up by the president of the NBA has met with authorities of the AFCC, ICPC, and NSCDC, while a meeting is already scheduled with the Office of the Inspector General of Police (IGP) in order to ensure collaboration at the highest levels. At the first hybrid town hall meeting in Abuja, with the team lawyers, security agents, and the rule of law president of the NBA says it is time for legal practitioners and security operatives to learn how to discharge their respective functions within the ambit of the rule of law. The incessant bickerings arising in the discharge of their functions by lawyers and security operatives are unnecessary, and permanent solutions must be found to ensure that they work without stepping on each other's toes. A Deputy Commissioner of Police and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Samuel Long, noted that pride and arrogance are responsible for the bickerings among lawyers and police. Mr. Long, who is the first serving police officer to become a son in Nigeria, called for synergy between lawyers and security agents because they have vital role to play in ensuring safety of life and property. He noted that a situation where lawyers and security agents see themselves as enemies must be eradicated.
Conflict between lawyers and security agencies. We have looked at one of the causes from practically speaking, that is from my perspective, is pride. You know, most of us lawyers are trained to be very proud. So we carry that pride to wherever we go.
Is the administration of justice to ensure that adequate sanctions are given to both errant security agents and lawyers.
Everything must be done in compliance with and in accordance to the law. This assertion renders it abundantly obvious that the composition of the key players in the quest to enhance, entrench, and sustain this concept consists of the ministers in justice on temple, who must at all times observe, uphold, and promote the rule of law.
In other news, the former British High Commissioner to Nigeria has led a business delegation to have a robust discussion with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in Abuja. The essence is to encourage investment in Nigeria. Paul Oakright believes the country is a wonderful place to invest. Olawakon was there.
According to available statistics, direct foreign investment into Nigeria is projected to trend around $900 million in 2022 and $860 million in 2023. But many factors ranging from security challenge, infrastructure, and some economic indices have been a stumbling block. A business delegation led by former British High Commissioner in Nigeria, Paul Oakright, has met with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu to encourage investment into the country.
We talked about a wide range of subjects, obviously from the economy, the importance of bringing investors into Nigeria. I still firmly believe that Nigeria is a wonderful place to come and invest. So part of my role now is to encourage British and international investors to come in.
He identifies the areas that require huge foreign investment that will boost national growth.
Power is very key. The importance of electricity, His Excellency was talking about that. I absolutely agree. Agriculture, communication, education, healthcare, really critical in this time just after the pandemic, or while we're still, in fact, going through the pandemic. So there's a wide range and a lot of expertise in the UK and in Europe, which can help Nigeria recover from the pandemic.
Given the incessant killings by bandits and terrorists in some parts of the country, Mr. Oakright points out that security challenges need to be tackled to the barest minimum to encourage investors.
It's worrying. It is putting off investors, so investors are worried and concerned about that. And I do think, I know that the government is doing its best to tackle that. I know there's new investments going into equipment, investment, training of military and police. And I think that's very, very important, because without security, you're not going to get investors coming here.
The meeting is expected to yield a result that will bring positive turnaround to the country and further strengthen the existing bilateral relations between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. Ola Awakon. TVC News, Abuja.
The South-South Youth Initiative has issued a 2-month ultimatum to the Rivers State government to address the rate of unemployment and the plight of retirees. The group, which is also threatening to embark on a protest, says life has been hard for many youths and senior citizens in the state. Senior reporter Uche Okoro has more.
It's been all about partisan politics throughout the 7 years of the incumbent administration. This group laments. They insist that the state has not enjoyed the dividends of democracy in many sectors of the economy, like agriculture, and that human capacity development through education has also declined significantly with the absence of state-awarded scholarships and financial support to students. For them, the rate of unemployment among the youth is also another cause for alarm and should be addressed within the next 2 months.
We believe that the 5,000 jobs the governor promised Rivers people during his first tenure campaign is no longer enough for the state. We need 6,000 jobs, 60,000 jobs to be created by the state government from now to the next 2 months. This will cushion the effect of unemployment that is already befuddling the state. We could have asked for more than that, considering the number of years the administration has been in place without creating jobs.
While the younger generation clamors for the government to create jobs, thousands of retirees and pensioners in the state claim they are being owed more than 100 billion naira in gratuities and pensions. They explain that the situation has left many of them homeless and their health deteriorating, while hundreds have died from the suffering.
Somebody that retired in 2016 was not placed on monthly pension up to 2019, June 2019. And so that attracted arrears of pension, which is outstanding up to this day. Nobody has been paid gratuity in this state for the past 7 years. Nobody has been paid gratuity.
This is my 20 years of widowhood. You can imagine how I've been catering for my children alone and living in a rented apartment.
Based on all their concerns raised about the performance of the current administration in Rivers State, the group also called on the governor to reconsider his presidential ambition until all their demands are met. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
We'll return with more stories after this break. Stay with us.